Greyman! 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 Holy YouTube video, Greyman!
Hey folks, so I'm going to combine my reads of the week, which I should have done yesterday, with my Tuesday mail call, because I've hardly got any mail. I didn't read that much this week either, to be honest. Bit on the slow side. All I've read was Curse of the Weird, #1 and #2. I can't even remember much about the stories, to be honest. They were just like a little handful of old school, like I think Golden Age possibly stories, reprints basically. But I had #4 of this, which I got off my mate, and I just wanted to see. There's only 4 parts. I wanted to get the rest of the parts. But it's crazy stories like the brain. And this disembodied head can somehow get around on its own by sort of like jumping along. It's just craziness. And the brain escapes at the end and lets you know that it could be coming for you next. Like silly old stuff like that, but good silly. I look at the Eye of Doom. There's like an eyeball that sucks people up. Watch out for the eyeball of Doom. And this guy at the end, he's been sucked into the eyeball. None of the stories end with a happy ending, I don't think. The man who owned a ghost. He basically, this one, he summons a ghost to murder his wife, but he won't. He says he can't murder, but he can try and scare them to death or whatever. So he goes after the wife, because the wife's planning to kill him, and that's why he wants to kill her first by summoning this ghost to kill her. And at the end, she's not going to be killed by it, so he tries to jump out the window. So he tries to push her out the window, and when he goes to push her out the window, he goes straight through her, and it turns out that he was already a ghost. He'd already been killed by her the night before. He hadn't realised it. So he was already a ghost. And the ghost that he summoned was actually himself. So his own... Yeah, very confusing. Well, very, very sort of daft old sort of comic book silliness. But fun. This one's got the Ghost of Glismore, No Sign of Life, and the Bat's Tail. No Sign of Life is these scientists go to a new universe, and all they can see is planets, but none of the planets got any life forms on them. But it turns out the planets were actually aliens themselves. So at the end, they open their little eyes and, that worked. We kept them away. This is a Steve Ditko, I think. Definitely looks like Steve Ditko. Definitely, yeah. It's a prankster who likes to play pranks on people. He sets it up so this guy goes into a house that's full of props that he's put in there, like ghostly props to scare the pants off of him. Then he goes in to get his props back, and the real ghosts turn up and end up scaring the pants off of him, kind of thing. And at the end, some bloke's disappearing. So the ghost got the revenge for him playing a prank on somebody. I don't know. Oh, this is about like a vampire guy kidnap some guy to take him off back. Talking about the beast. They're talking about there's a beast out here, our enemy, the beast, and he captures this the beast man, and he captures this guy, takes him back to his pack, saying, hey, look, I'm as tough as the beast man. Look, I'm picking people up and bringing them back here to eat. And he says, awesome. But then the guy he's picked up happens to be the beast man. Proceeds to kill the vampires. So yeah, probably best stick away from the Beast Man and the vampires if you can at all manage it. We've only got one more part of this to go now. Innocent bystander. Oh, this was a weird one. Some woman her husband hates her, wants to kill her because she keeps spending all his money on antiques. She's wasted all his money on these antiques. But the latest antique she buys is some cursed antique. She doesn't believe in the curse, and the curse, like the statue comes to life and kills her, but obviously the husband gets blamed for it. That's it. Right, the Unsullied Man. Oh, this is a really weird one. This is like some of these old books. Their science is way out there. It's just completely out there. This guy gets into one of those rocket sleds that they use for training, like G forces and stuff. Back in the day, like the Air Force, or probably the rocket sled. And he goes in this rocket sled, it catapults him along really quickly to get away from these people who are after him for being a wrong un. And he starts seeing everything weird, and he becomes unsolid. And it's all the ending sort of story of what the cause was a bit like, huh? What? Methinks you don't understand science. that wouldn't be how that wouldn't work. It's something to do with the fact that he was going so fast that his eyes hadn't adjusted, and he was seeing after images of everything because he'd moved so quickly. So he wasn't really passing through walls. He was passing through walls that weren't really there, but he thought were there because his eyes weren't. Yeah, it was one of those ones you made you go, huh? What? What does that mean? I don't understand. Well, the other thing I read is a few of this Karate Kid run. I finally got the full run of the Karate Kid run, and yeah. So the basic synopsis is Karate Kid comes back from the 30th century to live in the past, and he's a bit bolshy about it, about what, he doesn't really sort of explain why he's doing it properly, but you find out as he goes along that he's been sworn to secrecy and he's doing it for like a reasonably good reason. He wants to prove himself as well. It's one of the other things he says. Art, not the greatest art. Stories, certainly not the greatest stories, but I think it's a matter of how negative or positive you are when it comes to reading comic books. When I read them and I thought, these are so hokey, but I like them. You know what I mean? It was just like, one of the villains, the Gyro Master or something like that, and it was just like, he's so rubbish. Such a bad villain, and such bad dialogue, and such bad powers, it's just silly powers. Like he has a gyroscope that throws out, and other gyroscopes come out of it, and then he has a gyroscope, it throws it up, and it sets a line up, and he spins up this line to get out of the building kind of thing. I know Gyro's meant to be able to do that kind of thing, but it was just like, this guy's so cheesy. But it was just, I enjoyed it anyway. It was just a good, and some of his, at one point he gets thrown out of a window, and he does a backflip out the window, and someone pushes himself back off the side of the building into the room. It's like, nah. No, that wouldn't work. Physics, gravity. His whole thing is he's just a normal guy who knows martial arts, but his martial arts are like pushed to the degree of ridiculousness where he can shatter walls. This is just completely daft. Major disaster is started an earthquake going towards the UN building to destroy the UN, and he somehow goes to where the tremor is, hits the ground so hard where the tremor was to send the tremor back to major disaster. And I'm like, whatever. I don't care. You could be like, it's a matter of how you choose to be. If you choose to be, that's stupid, what a load of rubbish, these old comic books are crap, then that's on you. But if you're just like, fair enough, whatever, the science probably doesn't hold up, but I'm just going to enjoy the yarn, which is what kind of mindset I was in. Even though I've been quite negative with other things, but reading my comic books, I've still been writing some positive reading my comic books. It's like, it's a good silly story. He is fighting the Revenger, rather dodgy looking character. But yeah, this guy is trying to kill some people to get his revenge, and eventually Karate Kid catches up with him and manages to defeat him. Master Hand. He's like a samurai who was born without his hands though, but he's trying to reclaim the glory of Japan. So I think he's kidnapped some bunch of school kids because the American whatever. American capitalist destroying the Japanese culture, something. Those kind of raison d'etres that kind of don't hold much water really, but they're good for comic books. It was one of those. Anyway, they end up fighting the honourable duel. Master Hand loses. He's going to commit seppuku or harikari, whatever and Karate Kid stops him from doing it, kind of thing. In this one, if I don't stop Commander Blood today, he'll become the man who destroyed the future. So yeah, this guy, Commander Blood, wants to capture Karate Kid and get facts from him about the future, about what wars are coming up, so he can choose which side to be on and where to sell his mercenary forces for the highest bidders, that kind of thing. Not too sure how much water that would hold. And some of the other future people come back to rescue him, and he's like standoffish towards them again. It kind of turns out that he's gone back in the past, partly because his girlfriend, Princess Projector Jackie, her father has told him he's got to go and prove himself. So he's told him to go into the past, kind of thing. He has a few run-ins with the police as well. He's like, they're not happy with his methods. They don't want him being a vigilante, that kind of thing. And there's this police captain who's kind of totally overblown. Like at one point he throws his pipe on the floor and he's stamping up and down, and it's almost like different kind of style. It's like a comic kind of style, like I don't know, like in Dennis the Menace or something like that in certain panels. And I'm not sure who the art is, but it's not the greatest in the inside. It's all right, but it does the job. But quite enjoyed the read anyway. It's like they're quite quick reads as well. There's not too much blinking exposition or too much massively long explanations. You can like crack through a couple of them in I don't know 10-15 minutes or whatever, and they're just simple, good fun, but don't think too heavily about the implications of everything. Don't expect reality. What was the? Oh yeah, I mentioned the thing where he sends the earthquake tremors back to. That was two of the instances of crazy science. And there's also like the karate like kind of people, the martial arts kind of people, like, they wouldn't be able to cut it in the real world of supervillains, I don't think, with proper superpowers. But they kind of amp them up to the max. Like, there was one thing, he's going to die in a microwave, and he manages to escape from these bombs, but as he's swinging to get out, and he somehow manages to turn that into a twisting jump and smash open these doors, and it's like it wouldn't work. But obviously it's got to be unrealistic martial arts to be superhero powers, doesn't it? Like the kid's skills against the spinning death of the gyro master, and he looks rubbish. He looks rubbish. And next up there's this guy called Pulsar, who's like an assassin, but he's being made to do it by the mob, because he was a low-key mob guy. He had a heart attack. They replaced his heart with an atomic heart or something like that, and they've got a bomb in it, kind of thing. So if he doesn't do what he's told, they're gonna end his life and possibly blow up his family as well, kind of thing. So he doesn't really want to be fighting Karate Kid and killing people, but he still has to, because he's But anyway, he ends up getting back at the gang with the help of Karate Kid, and he manages to get his not freedom from the mob, but obviously he's going to go to prison. But he's like, I don't care, as long as I'm away from them, and then when I come out, my wife will still be here, hopefully, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. And this is just a continuation of that Pulsar story, really. And then this one we find out about the fact that he's been sent to the past by Jackie's father, the king of whatever planet it is. He's the king of, I can't remember now. And his enemy, like in the past, right? Originally, I think Karate Kid's father was a supervillain, the great martial arts supervillain, and he was killed in a battle with a guy called the Sensei, who ended up raising Karate Kid and teaching him all his martial arts powers. This was the guy, I think, who was the disciple of his father, I think, and he wanted him to team up with him to kill the guy who, he didn't. Because anyway, he's now on Princess Projector's planet and has taken it over, and they get into a fight. Long story short, Karate Kid wins, and even though he saved the planet, the king still says, no, you still got to go back and carry on doing what you were doing. You still got to prove yourself to me in the 20th century. So he ends up going back. But there's a nice scene. Because when he's back in the 20th century, there's this woman, like a school teacher, who he's kind of like got a relationship with, like friends, but she likes him obviously. And at one point she kisses him, just as Jackie appears. And so we got the scene at the end I realise you need friends in the past, and well, I know you've been seeing a lot of this Irish Jacobs, and well, what I mean is, are you in love? And he says, yes, Jackie, I am. And then he kisses her and says, with you. Oh, how sweet. I feel sorry for the other lady now because she likes him, but what can you do? You know, you can't be sowing them that superseeds all over the shop. I don't know why I said that for. That sounded wrong. Right, and this is my pickups this week. 3 comic books. Female Furies #2. I've read online. Oh, it's such a social justice bloody whatever. Yeah, whatever. I don't care. So I read the bloody story and make my own mind up. And all this anti-SJW stuff. It's like, oh, shut up. Get on with it. Just either like the comic or don't like the comic. Bloody go on about it. That's how I feel sometimes, hearing people's rants about that kind of thing. It's I don't understand it as well, because superheroes are social justice warriors. Simple as that, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, right. Terrifics #20. People would probably disagree with that. Terrifics #25. There you go. So they're doing good things for the world, and treating everybody equally and with love and compassion. If that's not social justice warriors, I don't know what is. I'm out of here. Social justice warriors out. Right, and I'll be back some other time in the future. Cheers for tuning in, and have a great, amazing day. And until next time, may all your news be good news. Tomorrow I'll be discussing comic memories with Just a Little podcast. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night for Just a Little podcast. If you're not sub to him, you should go and sub him now. Sub up Just a Little podcast. There.